Hi, my name's Kenny Pittock. I'm an artist based in Melbourne, and I like to paint, draw, and make things out of clay. My work's often about everyday, mundane, discarded things, and thinking about how these anonymous portraits can often be quite revealing to who we are. Clay is a really slow medium, and I really like that it's slow because it kind of gives you time to really reflect on an object. With something like this bottle, thinking about the little marks that are on it and around it, hand sculpt it, let it dry a lot, and then you put it in the kiln and fire it. Sometimes I'll use glazes, sometimes paints after that, and that's all hand done as well. Metro Tunnel recently did a big dig to build the tunnel, and they uncovered this treasure trove of discarded objects that had been buried for decades, from cafes, restaurants, all along Swanston Street from the mid-1900s. So this is the can that was found on Swanston Street. It was a butcher at the time. And then this is the ceramic replica. It's interesting to think about who might have drunk from this can, the person that they bought it off, the person that made it, just the daily life of this can and what this can could tell. So on this table are all of the ceramic sculptures that I've made as replicas of the items that were dug up during the Metro Tunnel dig. Here are some lamb bones found at a grocer. It's thought that they were most likely left over from a meal called barreled beef, which people were pretty keen on at the time. Usually in my work, I really like to recreate things that have been created, whereas a lot of these objects are quite organic. I quite like the tones, the shapes that you get. These are milkshake canisters from a 1920s cinema, a little bit deteriorated, but still good to drink from maybe, much like these straws from an old McDonald's. Here is a knife from a cafe. We have a few forks at home that are a bit bent out of shape, so I'm sympathetic to a bent piece of cutlery. As a sort of tribute to these items that ordinarily would have been forgotten, I've recreated them as exactly as I can. I was really interested in these ceramic replicas of little handwritten notes that the archaeologists provided along with the objects, and sort of bringing them into the work as well. Because I think that's where these things that are kind of discarded become very human and part of our world. With my work, a lot of the time, the humor is a bit more obvious in this work. These items that are rubbish, immortalized in a way that normally something really grand or prestigious would be immortalized. It's quite fun to give these items that same respect. But then there's something deeper there about who we are as people, I think. The humor in them as an entry point, but then you do think about what the sort of discarded objects of our time will say about us. So it was really interesting to look at these discarded objects, things that for me reflected a bygone era. I would love if people had the same sense of wonder that I get from these objects. As someone who makes art about things that are discarded, it was really exciting, and I felt really lucky to be invited to respond to some of these items. Maybe one day my object will be discarded, and then someone else will find this and make a ceramic version of that. Who knows?